Hello, everyone. How are you doing? I've got a really special movie for you today. And yes, you read the thumbnail right. This is a zombie film, but it does not have any zombies in it. Sanket, how is that possible? Either it is a zombie film or it's not. Well, to understand that, you need to be with me for the next few minutes and it'll be clear what this movie is actually about. But here's the thing today, you need to participate. I've actually got a task for you today. The task is that while I'm explaining the plot, you need to pick out two irregularities. Yes, two irregularities. Two such points that don't sit well with the movie. You know, the kind of scenes which make you go, wait, what? Are you sure that happened? Those kind of irregularities. So keep your ears open, all right? Cool. Let's start. Oh wait, I didn't tell you the name of the movie. So the movie is a 2017 Japanese movie called One Cut of the Dead. The movie starts with this girl. She's scared and she's backing up against a wall because her boyfriend has actually turned into a zombie and is actually walking towards her. So she's holding an axe, but she's also hoping that her boyfriend will not bite her because she thinks that there's still some amount of, you know, there's still some amount of human left in him. So she puts the axe down, hoping that he won't bite her. But unfortunately, her boyfriend has been fully converted. So he comes and starts chewing her neck. And that's when you hear cut. Yes, you find out that this is actually a zombie movie that's getting shot here. The girl and the guy are actually actors. You see a warehouse, the place where they're shooting. You see not a big but probably a limited number of film crew around them. And you also see a director who's coming towards them to explain the scene. And he doesn't really explain it as much as he shouts at them. He's properly mentally and physically abusing them. Like, talk about a toxic work culture, So you get to know that he's the kind of guy who only cares about getting the film done, regardless of the means. He'll do anything to get his shot. So he's screaming at them, he's shouting at them, he slaps the male actor as well. So after this outburst, they take a break. The two actors are sitting on a chair, and that's when the assistant director comes in. And she's this sweet little lady. She's helping them out. She tells them not to take it so hard. He is like that. He does get a lot aggressive during film shoots. But here's the thing, they also notice that she's somewhat scared of something. So they ask her, and she tells them that it's this location that she's actually worried about. You see, the side that they're shooting on is actually a place where a lot of humans have died in the past, and people have used the site to resurrect human beings, to bring them back to life. She tells him that the director is so fucked up that to make this movie look realistic, he has also done some rituals on his own, like some rituals related to a pentagram or something, and that freaks them out as well. It's not just the assistant director now. They all three are pretty scared. And right then, you hear a bang on the door. So they go near the door, and when they open it, a severed hand comes flying at them. This freaks them out a bit, but they're not entirely convinced. They're not entirely convinced that it's a real hand because it easily could be a prop from the set of the zombie movie that they're shooting. But that's when they see a member of the crew with his hand cut off. And if this wasn't scary enough, a few minutes later, an actual zombie charges towards them. So they start running all over the place because of this. And there's this thing that happens where they have picked up the severed hand, and the zombie's chasing the severed hand for some reason. So they throw around the hand to each other for some time, and the zombie's chasing the hand. And somehow they outwit the zombie. They manage to get him out of the warehouse. And just to make a note here, sorry for missing this, but just make a note here, all of this is being shot by the heartless director, whose only motive is to capture the whole thing that's happening and the actors' expressions. Like he even throws a zombie at them. He's that compassionless. He can risk people getting killed here, but he doesn't care about that. He just wants to get his movie done. He just wants to make his movie as realistic as possible. What an ass, right? Like he's that kind of character in a zombie movie, in a horror movie, who is an asshole, who doesn't care about a lot of people. And you immediately know that he is someone who's gonna get the most brutal death. So yeah, back to the story. They tackle the zombie somehow and they're taking rest. The three of them, the girl, her boyfriend, and the assistant, they're standing together. And suddenly you notice that they start asking each other if they are fine or not. Like repeatedly. The boy to the girl, "Are you fine?" And she says, "Yeah, I'm fine." And she asks the assistant, "Are you okay?" And the assistant's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And the assistant asks the same thing to the boy, and he replies her back. And this goes on for a minute or so. They're just asking each other the same thing. They also have a very confused look on their faces, like they don't know what to say. And that's when another zombie comes in. So they run outside to the van in which they plan to escape in. And even then, they encounter a lot of zombies. And the rest of the movie, let me tell you, is spent with them running around and fighting the various zombies that they encounter. They encounter zombies in the warehouse, obviously, in the van, in the woods, in a shack, actually. And that's what happens mostly in this movie. Till the last scene. In the last scene, now stay with me. In the last scene, the boyfriend is bitten, but this time he actually gets converted. He kills the assistant with an axe. There's an axe stuck to her head, like it's very brutal, the scene. So he kills her, and after he kills her, he walks towards the girl. And while he's walking, we actually see them sort of recreate the first scene that we see them in. So he's slowly walking towards her, and she's crying because he is her boyfriend in real life too. So she's crying. And while this is happening, the assistant wakes up. She has a shocked expression on her face for some reason. She screams at the girl and falls down again. And the girl here notices that the assistant has an axe stuck to her head. So she takes the axe and kills her boyfriend with it. And after she kills him, she walks towards a big pentagram symbol. I think it's the same symbol that the director used to perform the ritual. So after she kills him, she walks towards the pentagram and the camera zooms out. And that's when the end credits start rolling. And that is all that this movie is about. So that's all that I have for you this week. Wasn't this awesome, guys? I think you're somewhat intrigued to watch the movie now, right? I think even on a personal note, this has to be one of my favorite reviews that we've done on the channel. So if you like this, which I'm sure you did, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. I'll meet you next week. Bye bye. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a brand new episode of Cremechiss, where we'll be analyzing our analysis of One Cut of the Dead. This is where today's video actually starts. I am so sorry to make you go through that awful movie and that awful plot description. If you're still here and haven't left me, thank you so much. Thank you so much for putting up with me. I'll tell you the reason. Obviously, I'll tell you why I played that prank and made you sit through something which is the worst zombie movie ever, which is the worst movie ever. And I know what you're thinking. Is this what Cremechiss has come down to? A channel which once recommended movies like Bakurao and Wajda has dumped itself down to this? Guys, guys, there's a reason. There's a reason why I did it. And here it is. Okay. Are you ready? All right. So this movie is what you would call a meta movie. You know what a meta movie is? Those kinds of movies that know that it's a movie, or the characters know that they are in a movie, like they're self-aware, like Deadpool. He knows that he's in a movie, and that's why he makes those references that are from other universes. or Everything Everywhere All at Once. Michelle Yeoh experiences a separate universe where she is a movie star who's watching herself in a movie theater. So it's like a movie inside a movie. Now, about One Cut of the Dead, this film, being meta, is the only thing that I'll mention in this non spoiler section. I won't tell you how it is a meta movie. All I'll say is that the plot that I described actually takes place in the first 20 minutes or so in the movie. What happens after, I'll be spoiling right now. So if you still want to know how this movie is a zombie film without any zombies in it, then you would need to hang around. And honestly, even this is not that big a spoiler because what I'm about to reveal is actually happened right after this 20-minute movie section ends. So it's something that happens in the first 30 minutes or so. So I wouldn't say it's that big a spoiler. So if you want to stay around, you're welcome to. All right, so this is what happens after the end credits roll. So the screen fades to black, and we find out that this was actually a movie that they were shooting. None of that was real. They're shooting a story where a film crew gets attacked by zombies. So if you think about it now, there are four meta layers involved here. Now, when we watch regular movies, there are usually two layers involved, right? There's our reality where we're watching the movie, and then there's a reality inside the movie that the characters live. Here, on the other hand, there are four layers. Is it getting too confusing? Okay, here's a diagrammatic representation of it. So the first layer, the innermost one, is the movie that they're shooting that we see in the beginning of this movie with the girl and the zombie boy. The layer outside of it, the second layer, is where the asshole director comes in, who now we know is actually an actor. So the director and his assistant are the second layer. The third layer is the shooting of the movie that's happening, which is actually the reality of the movie that we as viewers are watching. And there's obviously the fourth layer, which is us watching the movie and wondering what the hell is even going on. I think this should make it clear. But when you watch the movie, it actually gets simpler with every minute. So you can chill out on that front. Now, let's come back to the two irregularities that you noticed in the plot. Did you notice any? Okay, I'll tell you. The first one was them asking the same question to each other for a minute. When you watch that scene, you immediately feel like there's something off about this. The reason why that happens is because they're trying to improvise and are failing miserably at it. And the second one was when the assistant, after getting killed from an axe, just gets up, screams at the girl, and falls down again. So these scenes, when you watch it, these scenes are actually hints to us that it's not really happening. No one would actually keep these scenes in the movie, right? Like the only reason why they keep them in this is because the makers, they wanted to be the first film ever to be shot live. And that's the reason why everything is going haywire. That's why they're failing so miserably at everything that they're trying. Now, the question at this point, when we find out about all this, the question that comes to our mind here is why? Why make a movie in such a way which makes it look so confusing? Like, is this movie more than just a gimmick? What is the point of this movie? What does it want to portray through all this mess? And the answer to this is where I think the movie's heart really lies. This is what I took away from this movie. This is what made the movie for me. Like, there are movies that do the meta thing. There are movies that do gimmicky stuff, but I love movies that do it for a reason. And the reason that I found from this movie was that this movie is talking about all the hard work that goes into making films. Like, I've never been on a film set, but I've heard that they're usually very chaotic. And this is so interesting to me to know that no matter what is going on behind the camera, they still manage to create something so magical, something so beautiful that we're transcended to a different world altogether without knowing anything, without knowing any of the hard work that the makers went through while making it. So the rest of this movie is spent showing us how they make this movie. And this is one, trust me, guys, This is one of the funniest hours that I've spent watching the movie. It's hilarious when you find out why the assistant gets up or why they are acting so badly in these scenes. But the most beautiful thing amongst all this chaos is when the last scene is shot and they're so happy that they completed the movie. All the hard work, all the rehearsals that they did in the past weeks has finally come to fruition. It doesn't matter whether it's good or bad. All that matters to them is that they've created something. They've created something with their blood, sweat, and tears. And that's what gives them a smile when they're shooting the last shot. And I thought that was such a beautiful message that the movie's trying to give. There's a rule that we follow here on Cremechiss, and it's that we never hate on movies. We never talk about movies that we don't like. And it's because of the same reason why I love this movie. No matter how bad a movie is, it doesn't feel right to shame it because of all the hard work that goes into making it. I'm not saying I'm not saying that there aren't bad movies. Obviously, there are a lot. Okay, there are in fact more bad movies made in a year than good ones. But it just doesn't feel right to publicly shame them. And this movie tells you why. They make such a bad movie and fail at so many different steps. But when the movie ends, it leaves you with such a big smile because these guys, you've seen them struggle so much in the whole movie, trying to make this movie happen, hustling so much. But when the movie ends, they're happy. And that's such a wonderful feeling. And that is reason enough for you to watch this movie. And trust me, none of this is a spoiler because I've seen this movie 4 times now. I've even seen the French remake of it called Coupe. And every time I watch it, I discover something new. That's the beauty of this movie. And that's all I have to say about it. For real this time. Sorry about the prank again, but tell me you didn't secretly like it. So, yeah, that's it for this week. If you like this, you know the drill. We'd be so grateful to you if you comment and like our videos. We spend a lot of time deciding what to pick for you. Like, it's very easy for us to talk about Inception or the social network. These are things that we love, but we want to actually talk about stuff that go under the radar, stuff that are equally good, but for some reason they don't get enough recognition. So this can only go on if you support us, and we promise to keep meeting you every single week. Although next week we're going a bit more mainstream. A hint for you for next week is the show that we're recommending is so good that it knocked the ball out of the park. So comment down below your guesses and we'll see you next week. Until then, I'm Ron Burgundy and you stay classy, San Diego.